Oh yeah,
fix
that's
it.
kind of weird.
Oh no, it's because I have my own Twitch stream up, so it's just so it's just looping. Anywho, it's fixed now.
Yeah.
It's
Are you
fixed now.
talking on your microphone,
My
Greg?
new mic, yeah,
Oh, frick yeah, bud.
yeah. So let's get this started. Hey, what a flippy flop though! This is Stranger or Big Moose, and we're here with Faultarian Journal number 6. We're 6 weeks in a row. We're 6 weeks strong. I wish I could have a 6 week lifting routine, but I can't do that. But I can definitely do this. And I'm here again with Stephen Chandler, or I say Reed and Gotta Get School. So, Stephen Chandler, please introduce yourselves.
Hey, it's your boy S.A. Reed. What it do? What it do?
Cool.
Yeah, and it's me at Gotta Get Swole.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
we got a few topics as usual. So the first one that we have there is we got tester games and MMR. So essentially, what we're trying to discuss here is, does MMR influence someone from trying to find bugs because they're more worried about their own clout, I guess, within their tester group? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to see what you guys think about that.
So what specifically are you trying to talk about? That it was just kind of vague to me. I just kind of want to be able to pinpoint it.
So essentially, there's on playfault.com. You can go on the website there and they have an MMR system. It was there for alpha. I don't think they actually had the system itself in place, but you could definitely go on the website, look at the leaderboards, see where you are, where you stack up against everyone, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that's kind of spooky about that is there's they had that leaderboard up even during like internal testing and alpha testing and all that stuff. So like public testing, I guess, because that's essentially what Alpha 3 weekend was, and Alpha 2 and all that stuff. So do you guys think that a lot of people would they would worry more about winning the game than about testing a bug or a certain character? Like maybe a certain character wasn't chosen by the name of Boris because he sucked. Because they didn't want to play him, even though he probably needed the most testing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely think that it does become a bit of that, because it's kind of that conflict of interest, right? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to not lose, or are you trying to do the job that you need to do? Because sometimes being a tester, it's pushing the game to see where it will bend and push the game to see where it will break, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is kind of that idea of, okay, when you're putting that hyper competitive aspect into it, and it's a lot of professionals who are testers, it's a lot of esports players who are testers, sometimes maybe you can get a little bit more focused on actually trying to keep like a good elo or something like that. I'm sure that they have like mandates of like, you have to play this character, you have to be, saying what you're doing, and if you're only playing Twin Blast every single game or something like that, they might. I would expect that they'd be like, hey, maybe you can try out some other characters, try out some other builds, maybe try a different faction or two, because I can definitely see how that might become a bit of a problem.
Oh,
But I think
so
that's kind of like that's the beauty of the Discord and that community. So when you have people who are just like, let's say, who are only in the alpha, because again, I don't know if you guys are specifically talking about just the tester games that are like behind the scenes, or if you're talking about like when they have their more open alpha, because obviously if you're a tester, that's your main job, is just like testing and whatnot. So obviously I'm sure they're not too worried about MMR or anything like that, but it's more so, I guess, if you're talking about like these alpha weekends that have happened, if those people were less worried about playing the game and giving feedback, or like I think the general public that's just playing during an alpha weekend aren't going to take it as serious as somebody who's just purely a tester, because you got into it for different reasons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I'm not knocking it. Like, obviously, you know, the devs could look at them and say, "Look, man, we need more Boris gameplay. Can you guys please do that?" You know what I mean?
And well, that's the other thing. I think once it's been brought up in the Discord, everyone's already talking about how Boris needs to kind of be rebuilt. Like that tells you right there. Obviously, they're going to then open up that tester chat and start talking to people and start saying, "Hey, okay, clearly there's a problem with this character. We need at least every game on both sides want people to have Boris, and then just let us know where he's failing."
Yeah, and Zojax, just to let you know, like, they didn't have the actual system itself in play, so you weren't facing, like, bronze players, for example, versus bronze. Like, didn't have the system activated. But even if it wasn't activated, you could still go on playfault.com, and you could see where you stack up against the leaderboards depending on your wins and losses.
I'm sure that's another just internal, just making sure that MMR system works. Like, even if you don't implement it into the game, just making sure on the back end that
yeah, it is showing up on the website.
It's functioning correct.
That's true. The Wolf and Smite. Itchy, what wolf are you talking about? I haven't played that much Smite. I can only tell you probably 10
Oh
of the
yeah,
characters.
that's no, there's a character in Smite where I think his ult, I think he turns big.
Fenrir?
It might be. He grabs a hero, and then I think you can control the wolf, and you can like you can't get CC'd, and you can bring it all the way back into like where your team is. That would be a cool idea.
That would actually be a really cool idea. Boris currently has an execute ability, which is kind of cool. So he's the only character in the game at the moment that if you're less than 25% health, I think it is, you just one shot them. They're dead. It doesn't really matter. That's like a dive bomb.
Yeah, I think because there was Thanatos in Smite. That was the character I played a lot when we were playing Smite.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the execute on his ult, but it was the ability of like Thanatos was 100% designed around like you see him, you run because he can do stupid amounts of damage. And then also it's a thing where like you can't knock him out of his ultimate, right? And he flies up, he disappears, and then he flies down and executes. And so like I think maybe something that they should look at for Boris is what are ways that they can make the character scary. Like you need to be actually afraid of seeing Boris, because if you aren't, then like if Boris isn't dealing the damage, and I think it's also just like it doesn't need to be that he's always dealing that damage. It's just like the potential for that damage to be such a big thing.
Yeah.
And I think this can tie back into our discussion of MMR and testing. Like, if Boris isn't a character that is being tested because he's not good, it's never going to become a good character. And then you can start getting favoritism, I think, in character selection. And then you start getting problems where you'll get like solid metas for like a week or two and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think like, unfortunately for Boris, since no one got to play him in Paragon, nobody has that emotional attachment to him. So, especially if people get back into a Paragon-like game, why do you want to test that character when you're more interested in making sure your old favorite is as good as it possibly can be?
Yeah, like how make sure that they're treating, Crunch right if they ever put him in.
Oh, they'll put him in one day,
Don't play with my
characters.
heart. Don't play with my heart.
To me, just from what I've seen right now, like, the only character that I'd say that looks like OP would be Sevarog, just because he just looks like such a tank, even greater than what he was in Paragon. And then obviously, objectively, the worst character would be Boris.
Yeah, they said they buffed Boris. So there was someone, I think it was the McDonald guy that's always in the Discord. He literally made like a Wix.com free website that said like, please buff Boris. Sincerely everyone.
Yeah.
And Most of us only got to play this Alpha 3, so it was actually really funny. But they said right after that they did buff him. Whether that means they just gave him higher numbers or they changed a bit of his kit, we don't know. But they said they buffed him, and I'm kind of excited. I just think in my head, like, when you think about it, you have Chimera, Grux, who's not in the game yet, and Sevrog, who are like the main tank jungles. And like Boris is supposed to fit in that category, and I'd rather play Countess tank in the jungle. Yes.
And yeah, I
Countess
think
is good
that's
in the
that's
jungle
the
at the
problem.
moment.
Yeah, that's the
should
problem he
mention.
currently has. It's like, why are you clicking him? There is no reason right now to click him other than the fact of, hey, I didn't get to play this character in Paragon.
Yeah. And Itchy, just while you're there, I'm gonna look up Fenrir. I think you're talking about. I'm gonna look up what his ability does to see what I can do. I'm just doing it on my phone while we keep going. And
Yeah, definitely having just that more connection with the character and just making him feel a little more strong.
yeah. And the
And
point of
having
this
those
was not
up
to
close.
talk about Boris, but like if we're here, let's do it. Like, like Boris.
Well, it's kind of fits into our discussion because, again, like, if you talk about MMR and testing, like, again, why are you testing Boris? Why are you trying to make him better if he's just objectively the worst character right now?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But I'm excited to see. What they do. Yeah, and this also ties into. Remember a few weeks ago we were talking about testing and streaming, because there's just someone that I know is very against it, against tester streams, and
Yeah.
I kind of see their point now because when it comes to stuff like MMR. As long as you have a leaderboard of any kind, whether the system's activated or not, and you have streaming, people might be playing for more than just testing. You know what I mean? Like everyone wants to win, obviously. That's the big thing. But yeah, sometimes trying to break the game or finding a weird for some reason an item stacks and is broken, so it shouldn't stack, might be more important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that those things kind of can tend to get missed, right?
But there's benefits and consequences to both sides, right? So tester streams have been the main way for the community like ourselves to get any crumb of stuff from the game for the most part. There's been a few dev streams here and there too, I should say that, but for the most part that is like the big thing that shows us how the game runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's been a hot minute since they had any streams. That's because they're doing this huge update, which is understandable. But I know, so that helps the public stay connected, but at the same time, it might make the testers less directed to their job. You know what I mean? In a sense. But then again, you can also do the best of both worlds. Like, I would probably say the Strange Matter does internal testing that isn't streamed that we don't know about. Like I remember one time
100%. They'd have to be.
they have to. I remember one time jumping on the Discord, and I saw that Jacka was on fault. You know what I mean? And I was like, and I even called him out for it in the general chat. I was like, "Yo, why you on fault, bruh?" So like that's probably was one of those times like he was doing an internal testing job. Yeah, that just wasn't streamed. So that's pretty much all I want to say about that. Is just when it comes to when it just comes to testing, I don't know if there should be an MMR system unless they're trying to test out the MMR system themselves, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that definitely seems like more so considering, like they said, it wasn't implemented for matchmaking, so
Yeah,
it's definitely just making sure that the system can handle those changes and that it just doesn't bug out.
And what do you guys think about the new mic? I got a new mic right now. It's a Blue Yeti X. I better sound a lot better than my headset. And so far, I think I do. There's a bit of noise because of the area I'm in. I'm in this huge like basement area. So if I ever get like an RTX graphics card, I would love to use their like noise reduction software that they have new. But until then, I can't do anything. I had to make sure my PS4 was turned off because I had that turned on the other day, and it's crazy. It sounds like a jet engine.
Oh, always. It's worse when like you're still playing games like 4 a.m. and you have to have your sound down a little bit, and you can hear just your PS4 and not the game anymore.
Oh, it's absolutely wild. Like I was playing Final Fantasy VII, which is a fantastic game. I literally did the Shinra portion, like out of the slums. I started it, and oh my goodness, it's wild. And at one point, it's just battle after battle after battle, which seems like it does seem like a bit much, but at the same time, it's I don't know. It just adds to that moment of like we gotta get out of here kind of thing. I didn't spoil anything saying that. So
How many chapters are in it? Have you beaten it yet?
I think I'm on chapter 16.
Okay,
I think
cool.
there's 17 chapters.
I think there's 7. Okay, I'm on chapter 11.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm in the ghost train area.
Oh yeah. That's a cool area. It's not my favorite.
Fuck those
but...
ghosts, man. Those ghosts. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do when they like nullify, like they have that nullify damage thing. I don't know what to use on them.
Mhm.
So I gotta look that up. I'm looking forward to my hard mode playthrough though. When I beat it and then I can run through it again. It's a fun game.
Do we want to talk about that Twin Blast build they put out?
Yeah, let's do
There's
it.
some very interesting things on it to me.
Yeah. So guys, I don't know if you saw this, but on their Twitter page, they put up a bit of Twin Blast. So let me just grab that while we're doing this. Just give me 1 second. I think I have an actual image that I saved.
Yeah, I sent it in our chat there.
Oh, you sent it in the chat too, just to make it a bit easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Nee. When you say chat, do you mean the Creed one?
It's in Creed, general chat.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
past the anime chick.
Sorry, guys. Just having a...
I'll just send it again.
We got any Grand
Down at the
Summoners
bottom now.
players in the chat? 'Cause I got that Amane, and
So
she's
the biggest
not
thing
good.
that I noticed with this new build is
Okay, yeah.
the fact that all these abilities can be charged.
Mm-hmm. And they can
And that's an extremely interesting, just like, again, because they're trying to work with the animations they already had, but
Can you
the
guys see it
difference,
there
like
now?
something as like his ultimate being able to use rockets as a dash.
The dash a short distance in direction, and when ventilators act, dash.
Yeah,
up
it's
to 3
kind of cool.
times
It is different. It's a lot different than I thought it was going to be.
Are you able to make that image bigger?
You know what? Let me just jump on their Twitter, and then we'll make it bigger. Hope nothing sketchy shows up on my Twitter. Because you never know nowadays. Awesome. Much bigger. Oh, shit. Yeah, so this is the new Twin Blast, and like it's so...
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. And it's so different than the rest of the old Twin Blasts. So he has a passive now because Fault's adding passives. There was a time in Paragon and Legacy that they did have passives on characters actually, but that was a while ago, and they got rid of them pretty fast, if I'm not mistaken. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to give every character like a niche of some sort, and so that's what we got here with Twin Blast. So he's supposed to be like kind of like the speedy carry. So his passive is successful basic attacks grant stacks of movement speed for a short duration. So if you're hitting your shots, you're going to be moving. You're going to start rocket scootering, as Steven once said. which I think is
Oh,
kind
it's
of
going to
cool.
be so cool to watch like high tier players using him and just like zooming around the map.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but usually the more you move, the more difficult it is to hit your shots too. So it could actually be a really good balance, right?
And that's what I mean. That's why it'd be cool with the higher tier people, because obviously, like somebody like me, I'm going to get 2 or 3 basic attacks in a row, and then I'm going to botch it because I just won't be able to track.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It really it elevates the skill cap, the skill ceiling for Twin Blast a lot. But it's not without lowering, without upping the skill floor. Also, what we mean by that is the skill ceiling is like when you're a pro player Twin Blast level, it's now even higher. So you can be even better with Twin Blast
Yep.
if you're really good with him than what you used to be able to. And when you say skill ceiling, we mean they didn't raise it so that you won't be garbage even if you've never played him before.
And that seems to be the trend with any of the characters that they're trying to rebuild, is that, again, they want as low of a skill floor as possible, but making sure that as they're lowering that, they're also increasing the skill ceiling.
Steve, what do you think about Twin Blast and this movement speed he has built into his kit now?
It'll be fun. I think it fits his character. I think it'll, because that was kind of the whole point. Like, man has rocket arms. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the whole thing of him being a fast character makes him a good DPS, and it helps distinguish him in team fights as opposed to someone like Murdoch. Murdoch is a lot more like lock things down. You can't get away from him because his gun shoots across the whole map. But with Twin Blast, it's different because he's like a smuggler looking guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's almost like the difference between a soldier and a mercenary.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot more like guerrilla warfare, and I like how they got rid of the wasn't the double
Gatling
shot.
gun?
No. It was uh the where he'd shoot his guns like 3 times in a row, pop pop pop.
Yeah.
They got rid of that and they just gave him attack speed. I think that's a lot cooler. And yeah, I think getting rid of the Gatling gun and the I mean, because I remember when in Legacy they had him, he shot rockets and stuff like that, and
Oh.
it always just seemed so strange that,
Where's it coming from?
well, not even just that, like the rockets and the Gatling gun, you're building your character to be a crit demon, right? And then you get into a team fight. If you want to use your ultimate, bam, all your crit is gone because it's ability damage, right? Like, so this makes a lot more sense. It allows you to like heighten and actually save your ultimate for a good use that'll actually complement your kit. I think this is a really good move for him.
I am very very happy with this kit actually.
If this is the kind of stuff we can expect, then
Yeah.
I think
I do
What's also
have-
cool, the trend that I'm seeing is also having ultimates that affect regular abilities. I'm a big fan of that because it expands your pulse. Again, it's little things like that expands the skill ceiling rather than just making it like, oh yeah, I used an ultimate and all it's going to do is that basic ability.
Yeah, and it's really cool because like, what do you say? Oh,
Yeah,
you can. That would be a nice balance actually if you use the third. Okay.
Yeah, you basically just overheat your thrusters or something like that.
Yeah, because then it would benefit picking and choosing when to use your alt. Because think about it this way: even though it's a small distance, because it's so fast, it's like advanced warfare movement kind of fast in Call of Duty, and like you're not getting hit when you're dashing. It's not happening. Well, you could be, but it's
Just think about Tracer in Overwatch.
Yeah, or Tracer.
She has 3 dashes and then it's on a cooldown.
Yeah, which is that's actually a very good example. So now he has these dashes, so like you're not running away from this Twin Blast ever. If he's hitting his shots, like if you're about to die, you're dead, kind of thing. Which is kind of a good thing, and it also really emphasizes on The carry being exactly that, the carry. When it hits late game, this carry is going to be scary. They're going to be hard to hit. They won't need like a support on top of them at all times. Even though they're still a carry, they're still going to need them, of course. And I'm actually really excited. And from what I've heard, from what the testers have said, now this is a month ago now, right? Because they've been doing this big update. But Twin Blast is the best character in the game at the moment. Which is kind of cool. Like, very good. They've even been playing him in off lane a little bit, or so they said. I can't. They just said that here and there.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% Itchy. That would actually be awesome. Actually, you should, Itchy, if you're not in the Strange Matter Discord, you should put that in the improvement, because that's just one of those like yeah.
I'm wondering how that works out on his summer skin.
Oh my!
He just starts sweating.
Yeah, he just has water coming out. Yeah. The only thing I gotta say though is he obviously has a higher skill ceiling with this. Like that's very apparent.
And it's for the bad.
Yeah, but you now took away his machine gun, which was fun to use, but it wasn't that great. And it doesn't look like he'll also be able to spam grenades as fast. So one thing I was really good about Twin Blast is he was the only carry that had super good poke. So when it was 2v1 in lane and Paragon, you could poke that offlaner. So Twin Blast became really good. And especially because Steven Chan, you guys are more used to controller. Like, it was really hard to shoot and throw your grenade at the same time. But on PC, it's easy because it's two different hands. Like, you do it simultaneously. So he's way better on PC. And so he had like some incredible poke. And it seems like with how they made it like this, what I'm worried about, and I don't know if it's a good worry or bad worry, if he doesn't do enough damage, if he just hits it once to do the poke, maybe they took away his poke ability now. Anywho, you guys go from there.
Well, isn't that why you can charge up that grenade?
Hang on,
so
guys.
You have the ability if you want to.
Every 5 seconds.
Yeah, all good. Just that ability to be able to charge it up for a little bit. I mean, it gives the ability when you are in lane, let's say you're playing in mid with him, or if you're in carry, whatever. If they can see, I'm sure there's some type of animation of him charging that up. Like, you don't know if he's just choosing to use the ability or if he's going to charge it up and have that greater mana cost or whatever, however they end up balancing that. But just having the ability that it's kind of like when you're in lane and you know that the Narbash has used his thunk, you know you can go in because more than likely he won't be able to stun you. Yeah. But when you don't, like, you just haven't seen the Twin Blast use the grenade yet, even just having that to your advantage, just the scare tactic of, oh, which one is he going to use? Because clearly he still has a bunch of mana, but he could just do a quick poke, or I have the chance to read it.
To really do some damage. Oh, and that actually might be something really cool. Sorry, guys, I just had there's just a 4-year-old that was calling out to me, so I just had to mute my mic right fast, so I wasn't listening.
How dare you?
Sorry, but as I'm back now, and what I think would be cool is, like, so you're saying that you probably won't know the difference of a quick poke or a fast poke. Like, you won't be able to tell if they're... You won't be able to tell damage-wise. It'll just be off the speed if it is that.
Yeah, all I can imagine is that obviously a charged up one will use more mana. I'm sure that's probably the difference. Mm-hmm. But again, so when you're in lane against the Twin Blast, if he has a bunch of mana, you have no way of knowing if he's going to use the charged one or just the quick poke.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. And they made his kit more like Sparrow. So Sparrow was always about hitting your basics. Big deal, right? The more basics you hit, the more attack speed you got. But that's Twin Blast now. Look at this. You get more movement speed. His RMB gives you attack, damage, and speed. You get, if you are using Ventilate, you get even more attack speed, essentially. So he has 2 attack speed buffs and a movement buff now. So Twin Blast is the new Sparrow with better movement.
Yep.
Twin Blast sounds broken, and I'm kind of excited, to be honest. Like, at face value,
Someone has to be able to go up against Sevarog at this point.
yeah, at face
Like
value, he's broken.
who's going to have the DPS other than Twin Blast to go up against Sevarog in a team battle?
No one. I mean, they're the tank.
Yeah. Might be kind of tricky.
So, Steven Chandler, do you guys like the change? Do you wish it was the original Paragon?
I love it.
No, I think this is
This is
Way better than what Paragon had.
Twin Blast was always one of those characters that I felt like needed. There was just something about him, and I feel like with this, I'm gonna be a little bit more apt to want to like play him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's good. And maybe he's not meant to just be a carry, even though that's what we think he is supposed to be. Maybe he's meant to be a mid laner or something. And maybe that's what they're trying to do. Okay, so we're going to take this down. And we're going to move on to the next thing. So, what is the next thing we got there, folks? We got new map ideas as an additional topic. It's kind of... Wow, we're already into new map ideas. That's kind of cool. So, what we were thinking about new map ideas, we were going to draw like a little map and actually show it, but that unfortunately never happened. But we still got some ideas, and we've talked about this like on and always built up our ideas. Like this is not the first time. But what I was thinking is, because this overhaul is like the main thing. Like I want to see this new update more than anything in the world at the moment, because I got nothing better to do with my time with the coronavirus, and I'm so excited. And what I would love to see is especially with the map and how it's going to only benefit the MOBA that Fault is trying to create, as well as keep that what's the word I'm looking for? As well as keep that remembrance. Remembrance is not the right word of Paragon. Nostalgia is the right word. The nostalgia of what Paragon was.
That's a legacy.
Steve, you are
Dude, what is your
robot
mic doing?
Times 4.
Oh
right
my
now.
god.
You're breaking people's eardrums. You're breaking eardrums right now.
What?
You need to fix
Your mic
mic.
sounds
You need to fix your mic.
broke.
You need to mute it or something.
What do you mean?
Just fix it.
Disconnected, bro.
Just disconnect, reconnect. Current map is a good map, but some places is too tight, too wide, and the left and right lanes look awkward in the lane to gang. I agree with the lanes look awkward, very much so. But Strange Matter did say that the map in like the Alpha 3 weekend and Alpha 2 weekend, and so on and so forth, that was a map that they created simply for testing. It was like, it's literally a temporary map. It's not the map.
It's the placeholder more than anything.
Yeah, it's just a placeholder for what they plan on doing. So there's some stuff that I've talked about in a YouTube video a while back when I first started doing all this stuff, and that I've heard through dev streams and through a few stuff in the general chat there, that people would like to see changed. And the big thing is the jungle, the outer lanes, a river, and the buffs, which kind of goes with the jungle a little bit. So I'm just going to bring up some gameplay while I'm at it. Awesome. So what I mean is, what I would love to see with the lanes is, so the lanes currently they're kind of oval a little bit, like a half circle, which is good, but I'd love to see them actually stick even farther out, if that makes any sense. So kind of in a sense make the lane a bit longer, just because the big thing that is really unique to a MOBA is you can't move. If you're moving too fast, it's not it's not a 3-lane MOBA anymore. It's more like a team deathmatch. You know, we're not playing Overwatch here.
No.
We're playing Fault. So
Yep.
because of that, it's really you need to make the decision of knowing when to rotate. So with the lanes being slightly longer, it'll only emphasize on when to rotate. Because sometimes there are games there where I'll be like, okay, I'll rotate, but I'm gonna finish killing this minion wave first. But now if they make the lanes longer, I might have to go, no, screw that minion wave. I don't got time for that. I gotta go help my team out right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of.
We kind of touched on that before. Like, the most important mechanic in any MOBA is time.
Yeah, it is. It is very
So
important. And
time is
see,
influenced by a bunch of things. It's influenced by character movements, influenced by map design, it's influenced by abilities. All these things influence what we consider the most important part of a MOBA.
Yep, 100%. And Steve's actually the big guy on that, but his mic just broke on us, so he's not here. But yeah, so that's what I would love to see, and what I would also love to see in the jungle. I want it to look nicer, of course, but that's going to happen. It's going to look nicer. And the jungle in particular, when you think about the strong jungle side, that would be the side where your red buff is. I would love to see... Yeah, I would love to see that be like more closed in a sense. Like, I don't know how they would do it. I really don't know how. But I would love to see like it more closed to feel more like a jungle in a sense. Because I feel like right now, when you walk into that jungle, you always know where everyone is. And
Always.
Even without a ward. Like, who needs a ward when I can just like, they're not to my left, well, they're obviously behind the wall kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I think... Yeah. And I find with third person in particular, you can see more of the map than you could in like a top-down version, like in League of Legends. So I think it'd be really... I think it's really important to try to really close it off in a little bit of sense. Make it... Because to me, a jungle should be dangerous. Like, I'm walking in and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. It's the jungle.
Yeah, well, and I personally, I want it to feel claustrophobic.
Oh, you want it to feel claustrophobic?
Like, tight. I want it to feel like you're going into it. Because, again, it's one of those things where if you're talking about time, like, when it's your jungle, you should feel confident. You kind of know your route and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be some sort of... Like, because right now, it's too easy to go into the enemy's jungle. Like,
I literally just out of nowhere had an idea, actually.
Awesome.
I don't know if it would work in a MOBA, but, like...
Are you able to turn yourself up a little bit?
Yeah, I just didn't know if my mic was still shit.
No, you're back. You're back to normal. You're good.
Okay. When you're playing games like Persona, I mean, even like Resident Evil 2, you know, and you have, like in the Persona games, like the Wandering Grim Reaper or, you know, Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, it's this idea of like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't be here. What if there was some kind of NPC or a mob that lived inside your own jungle that patrolled throughout the jungle?
The Amber Collector.
And like that's the Amber Collector, and it walks around, and then if it catches a some like an enemy in your jungle, then their position is revealed to the whole team.
I mean, that's definitely an extremely cool concept. I don't see it ever being implemented, but just the pure thought of that,
because like then
cool.
It's like, you know, it's that whole concept of like, because I brought up a few weeks ago, like I want them to figure out ways to make the map feel more alive.
Yeah.
And like that whole thing of like there's things living in the jungle, not just these fucking little robots, you know what I mean? Like
or what if something your idea is very left field, but it's still a cool concept, of course. What I think would be kind of cool just to establish on your idea is maybe not an NPC, but what if the red buff started walking around so that you would actually have to move to kill it? And I don't think it should notify you when people come, because I think that's what a ward is for. But I think it'd be really cool if maybe the red buff, because it is a real person or a real creature in the game. What if that started walking around?
That'd be interesting. The only thing that'd be frustrating is if you're already going in to get it. And again, so since we're talking about time being important, like,
Yeah.
unless they made it so that you can always see where it is on the map, like, it would just be so annoying to go into one half of your jungle for it, and it's on the other side of the map for whatever reason. Or do you mean like it would only cycle around?
Oh, it
Let's
only
say
cycle
you're
in like the strong jungle.
Only in
Okay.
only in the strong jungle.
Yeah, so just do like a circle or something, or like maybe it would take one minion every circle it does from you,
Yeah.
or something
Yeah,
like
I'd
that.
be cool with
'Cause
that.
would actually be kind of cool, because imagine if you're trying to take the enemy's jungle, right? That even adds even more, I don't know, scaredness, I guess. More
Yeah, because
risk.
he's roaming around. If they find you in the jungle and they start hitting you, and that red buff is running around too,
Mhm.
there's good chances he's going to hit you as well as that character hitting you.
That actually,
Like, because like that's why I was thinking like, because like the whole idea of it being the red buff is cool, but what if it was something that maybe it doesn't give vision, but what if it was something that would start attacking enemies, and it's just something you have to worry about?
oh, okay, something
You know,
like it takes more than 2 hits to kill, so maybe 3 hits. Like, let's say a minion takes 2 hits. This minion takes 3 hits, let's say, and it's something to worry about. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because it's like, because you got to, because like there was never really a lot of fear going into the jungle, and because even too, like, let's say you're pushed all the way down, the long way would be taking the lane if you're trying to escape, but maybe the quick way is through the jungle. But then you got to think about, okay, maybe there's some shit in there that's gonna kill me too, so I got to think about that, and it might almost be like, okay, we need to have a better escape plan. We're
Yeah.
gonna push this inhibitor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you should, when you go into the enemy jungle, it should be like, oh fuck, like we got to commit to this. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Itchy, we put the ideas in every once in a while. It's not too often that we do it.
So, I just randomly had an idea now that we've talked about all this. So, you know how they've had kind of, they're deciding if they want to put the Amber Link back in or not.
Yes.
So imagine this. So you know how people used to go in, and obviously that was one of the things you could do in the enemy jungle was attack their Amber Link.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the sense of, again, Steven always really wants this living map and have it be more dynamic. What if, on top of having the Amber Link, you also had an Amber Guardian? So when somebody comes in, I mean, it just, again, just on the topic of time, like, it's not like it's going to be some unbeatable Guardian,
Yeah.
but it's the fact that you now need to kill this
Well,
minion before you can start doing damage to their Amber Link. Again, it would just be another minion. So, like you said, Greg, like just like a 3-hit minion. But the fact that there is something there that can damage you, and you aren't just rolling up to the Amber Link and just
I think
smacking it.
Yeah, that actually might be kind of awesome, and that's actually kind of cool too, because it's just another risk. Like, we don't want to over put it, but yeah, that actually might be really cool. And we're just talking like a little small thing, right? Like a normal red buff. What's it do? It takes just a few hits. It'll hit you like.
And it's just the little
as much
things
as a
just to
minion
add
does.
to it, like rather than taking away, just adding something.
Yeah. And Itchy said everyone uses harvesters. Nobody attacked the link. See, no one might have attacked it. Okay, how do I put this? Harvesters. They got rid of harvesters in Monolith, in Paragon, and then I remember when they had the original Monolith jungle, where the Amber Link was like literally like you walked into the jungle, you turned left, it was there, kind of thing, and then after about 6 months, they said, "Oh, Epic said, whoa. People are taking the Amber Link. It's too easy to take. We're going to move it to the middle of the jungle, so it's a bit more difficult." Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, what am I trying to say? What I really think about that is then, let's say you're going into a jungle, and let's say the enemy jungler is, for some reason, he's ganking, but you don't need to gank for whatever reason. And so now you're taking advantage and you're going to take his jungle. So you're taking that risk, hoping they don't have wards. And now, if let's say the red buff starts moving, it'll emphasize more on are you going in to take the Amber Link? Are you going in to take a minion camp? Or are you going in to take the red buff? But you can't really take all three without being noticed, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, like, for me, just why I like the idea of, just for lack of a better term, an Amber Guardian is, again, so since it's on your side, guarding your Amberlink, let's say, you can't farm it. Like, that character can only be killed and you can only get anything from it if you're the enemy team in that jungle. So again, it's just another objective when you are deciding to go into that side. Like, again, because the only way to get any bonus from it is from the enemy's jungle.
And what if it was something like, it's not as much, it doesn't take as many hits as a red buff, but it doesn't take as little hits as a minion, so it's somewhere in between. And what I think would be really cool about that is that would give you gold, so that Amber Guardian, quote unquote, is actually inviting you, even though it's defending the Amber Link, it's inviting the enemy jungler and the enemy team to come into the jungle to be taken.
Yeah.
Oh. Steve, what do you think?
Because again, so that's the thing, like, I know that's the main goal with your own jungle, is to make sure all your camps are sort of cleared up so that the enemy team can't get any of them. But there should be some, like, even if you go over and there's only one minion you can kill, which is this Amber Guardian, at least you got something out of it.
100%.
That just, like, just making that decision to go over there, because obviously you're leaving your jungle alone and you're not in anyone's lane.
Yeah. Oh, I think it should be a big risk to go into the jungle. But if done flawlessly, it should be no problem at all, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That's actually, it's kind of cool. And guys, we're just spitballing here. Like, these aren't real ideas. We're not devs or testers or anything. We're just we're spitballing a few ideas that we have.
are in no way affiliated with Strange Matter Studio or Fault at all. So
yeah, maybe one day we will be, but
yeah, for now
that's up to them.
You gonna learn.
And I guess all this talk about jungles and whatnot could sort of segue us into the next one, just with, like, the ward metas.
Yes.
And so I was just watching Sylphin's stream there the other day, and somebody brought up something that was just an interesting concept to me, just the mindset of, should there be locations on the map where placing a ward gives you a greater bonus if you put it in these specific locations? Or is the mindset that the community naturally decides where the meta is and what wards should go where? Is that enough, or should there be some sort of incentive to, let's say, more casual players who may not know about these higher tier strategies, where you just know, hey,
maybe in casual,
my ward is supposed to go here?
Maybe I can see that maybe being a cool thing in casual, if it's like, hey, if you put your ward here between, the opening on Strong Lane and this path on the jungle, it lasts 10 seconds longer or something like that. And it's
and I'm not
like,
talking about, like, game breaking bonuses, just enough of an incentive that you have to make the decision to put it there.
My point, though, is I think, like, that can be, like, a good thing for teaching, you know what I mean? And, like, when it comes to ranked, maybe they don't have that, so that there's less incentive to, like, hey, I'm gonna put it here, because if everyone knows, okay, there's a ward there. Or you can start going with the idea of, like, okay, that's where they probably put the ward, maybe I shouldn't go in there, and then it deters people even without a ward there. That could be kind of interesting. Maybe.
And the thing about it is, just like in every MOBA, there's gonna be, as Chandler said, there's gonna be like a status. There's gonna be like a bandwagon spot kind of thing, where people are gonna put wards. They're gonna be like, this is the best place to put this ward here, because it's watching people coming in for the gank or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be places that are more beneficial than others. It's just gonna naturally happen. But what Chandler's hypothesizing here is, imagine if Strange Matter took it into their own hands to say, if you do put a ward in a specific spot, which might be an off ward spot, it might not even be a meta spot, you get an additional bonus on your ward. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, something like that.
And that could just be the ward stays another 10 seconds. The ward has a larger vision.
The ward slows.
No way. Could you imagine how broken that would be if we just had a ward and everywhere you put it, it just slowed people down?
No. Like, if you place the ward in the specific area, anyone who gets spotted by the ward gets, like, a 25% slow for 2
No
seconds.
way.
Oh my goodness! No,
Oh
it'd be
my
like
goodness.
5-10% slow. Come on now.
Oh my goodness. Nah.
Yeah, well,
no
2
slow at all.
seconds.
That's crazy. Nah.
But what if actually that was an ability of a character? So,
Well, it would
like,
have to be the ability of like a whatever it is, like an item, that your wards can do that. Like, you'd have to buy into that with gold, so that's more of a late
like
game
what
thing.
if it was a jungler that when they placed their wards, it gave a slow when it spots them, so it incentivizes placing wards in your jungle.
But I think you already are incentivized to put a ward in your jungle because again, it's your jungle.
Yeah. But isn't
Yeah.
the incentive to use a ward just the extra vision?
Yeah, but some people just don't.
Yeah, but that's like newer players. Like, wards are so important. Like, people don't understand what wards do for games. Like, they are like, if I know the enemy jungler is in my jungle, that could be an easy kill, or it could be vice versa, right? But if you don't have a ward, I don't have that knowledge to make that decision. I'm just going in blind.
Yep.
Like, the wards give vision, which give you more knowledge, which means you just make better
Listen.
decisions.
I agree that wards are important. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to say that there isn't already incentive to put wards into the fucking MOBA. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. My point is just what if it was a type of jungler? Because remember we were talking a few weeks ago about like a bloodhound type character that has like traps or something
Yes, I remember
in the
that, yes.
but specifically maybe it's just in the jungle that when they place a ward, maybe it's just a passive. Whenever you place a ward in a jungle, when it spots them, it gives a slow for 2 seconds. So
yeah,
that
like if it's a specific character, then at least you know if that specific jungler is on the other team. I just have to watch out because their wards are going to slow me.
Mm-hmm. They should put that on Wraith. Just make him better than he already was, but make his rewind ability 3 times the slog.
Yeah. Just completely break the game.
Play Wraith everywhere. 5-man Wraith squad is the best. Can you imagine? Anywho. Yeah, no, Steve, I see what you're saying. That would be actually kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. If a character... Imagine... You know what? That actually brings up the point. Imagine if there was a character that was created that his whole kit was based on vision. Like, the better the vision the team has, the more... Like, everywhere that there's a ward placed, they can travel to that ward, for example.
Dear God.
Could you imagine? Or, Or, of course, you just said the slow. And maybe the ward's invisible, indestructible, because they have a ward in their kit. Or everywhere that there is a ward on their team, may be able to play an extra ward. That's actually a really good idea.
I was going to say that would almost be more beneficial than a slow, just being able to have a larger area that you're able to look after.
Mm-hmm. Steve, could you imagine that? The alt that could travel to any ward on the map, period. Their Q, let's say, it'll probably be their R&B. Their R&B, they place a ward. They place a ward that has a slow. Their Q is a different ward, but this ward is indestructible and lasts for 500 seconds or something. And that ward also does damage whenever they pass it. And then the E ability is just like something to help them do damage of some kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's just sounding more and more like a character that ends up creating a meta where, like, if it is like, because
yeah, that's true.
You put in a character that's just ward based, like no matter what, every 5 stack is going to have that character.
It's also one of those things too. Like this is if that character, let's just say that hypothetical character that just showed up, let's say they became a thing, right? Why would I play a ward as an offlaner when I got this whatever guy,
The ward master.
the ward master on my team? You know what I mean? We call him the warden, the warden of the jungle.
Yeah, here we go.
Fuck.
I mean, that's definitely taking it too far, but
You little bitch. Fucking dare you.
Oh, it was just like a small pun. It was fine.
We need, yeah. You know,
Man.
every time you say a pun, a fairy dies. Okay.
I mean, like,
I don't want to hear no more puns. You mass murderer.
so like, what do you mean by fairy?
I mean, small women with wings
Okay.
and small men,
Okay.
but
like
specifically, I'm thinking Tinkerbell, my
like-
dude.
Tinkerbell. Jonah,
Peter Pan,
I
like,
need to play
no,
this game too.
Said another
You know what I mean?
pun.
We could
No.
be. We were originally 6 days away. You know. Unfortunately, they pushed it back, which is nothing on them. You know, if it's gonna make a better game, I'm here. But yeah,
I can smell the salt as you said that.
he wants to say it's okay, but he's
Literally-
not okay with it.
A whole province away, and I'm just like,
watching gameplay,
Am
do
I
you
at the
think the
beach?
side-to-side moment is too? I think you meant movement. Side-to-side
Movement, yeah.
movement is too fast. Melee fights look like dancing around the enemy. No, I don't think it's too fast. So I should also say this. I'll just say this for people that are watching. I was very... My shot was just bad, I guess is a good way to put it, in this game. Because I was very new to PC at the time. Yeah. So this, this... me missing a I don't know, a melee or two, I think it has more so to do with me than just the actual movement. I think the movement is actually pretty good in this game. To where, like, if you play Overprime, it's like playing Legacy on crack. You know what's crazy? Just to establish this. I don't know if anyone realized this, but if you played Overprime, just want to put that out there. Yes, the map's bigger than Monolith, but because Overprime increased the speed, it's like the map is smaller than it was on Fault. So like I literally was playing Overwatch on Overprime. Like, who cares about getting my CS when I could just run to 14 different lanes and come back before the minion wave is pushed on my tower? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, really?
And like you said, like things like that just make the game feel like more of a team deathmatch rather than an actual MOBA.
Dude, I hate stuff like that. I hate it. I want to feel rewarded for getting my CS. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but anywho, enough about Overprime and back to Full. But